everyone, my name is Amir and tonight I'm at your service with another criminal case on Crime Cases TV channel. CCTV cameras and police body cameras sometimes record strange scenes. For example, the moment when the officers are forced to arrest this criminal.
I'm not playing with you, man. Get on the ground!
Yes, sir.
Get on the ground!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm on the ground, yes, sir.
Or when the case is reversed and the criminal goes out of his normal state and starts violence.
So what's going on?
I just had an argument. It's nothing serious, I'm sorry. You're a f***ing bald ass, f***ing fat, white ass, bro! Hey. Ew.
To kick me?
I'm not married.
But it is rare that the whole process of a crime happens in front of the camera from the beginning. The case of Grace Millen is one of those rare cases. To understand the details of this story, we first go to the criminal cases of New Zealand. Grace was born on December 2nd, 1996. She graduated from university in 2018, and before entering the world of work, she decided to pack her backpack for at least 1 year and start traveling around the world. The adventure started from South America on October 26. From there, she went to Peru, and a few weeks later, she went to Iceland, and finally she arrived in New Zealand on November 30th, which is 2 days before her 22nd birthday, and settled in a residence. 2 days later, on December 2nd, her family texted her and congratulated her on her birthday, but none of them received an answer. 3 days passed. Her parents were worried that she didn't answer the calls and text messages and did not even update her Facebook and Instagram and didn't go online. Grace had 2 phones so that even if one of them broke or stopped working for any reason, she would use the second phone. But in these few days, all the calls went directly to the voicemail without connecting and establishing the call. Her family contacted the Auckland police and informed that they had no news of their daughter. The last information they had was that she was in Peru with a group and then separated from them and went to New Zealand alone. The news of this girl's disappearance was spread in the media.
We begin tonight with a public appeal for missing British backpacker Grace Millen. A short time ago, police held a press conference to appeal for sightings of the 22-year-old who has not been seen since 7:15 p.m. on Saturday night.
Her father immediately took a flight to Auckland and in a television interview asked people for help in finding his daughter.
This opportunity to appeal to anybody who has seen, spoken to or come into contact with Grace over the last few days and to come forward with any detail, no matter how small, and contact the investigation team. Once again, I thank you all for coming.
But the story just begins here. A few days later, the main investigator of the case said in a TV interview, "To trace Grace, we started visiting all the city's security cameras to find out where this girl disappeared."
Police investigation today has concentrated around her movements and activities in Auckland since she's arrived in New Zealand. A large part of that focus has been around CCTV footage throughout Auckland.
These pictures that you see now are the summary of the whole story of Grace since December 1st. She leaves the dormitory at 17:37 in the afternoon and goes to the casino whose location is indicated on the map. She waits there for a few minutes. Grace seems to be dating this young man wearing a blue shirt. He is the man she met 2 days ago on the Tinder app. They walk around there for a while and then go to a bar there and drink a little. They talked there for about half an hour and then decide to go to a cafe to continue the discussion and order drinks there. After a little conversation, Grace and the man leave there and go to another bar called Blue's Thumb Room. And there, as you can see from the CCTV images, their relationship becomes much more intimate. At the exact moment when he goes to the bathroom, Grace takes out her phone from her bag and sends a message to her friend, telling her about her very good date. This is the last message that was sent from this girl's phone. I remind you that we are talking about the events of December 1st, which is the day before Grace's birthday. The young man returns to the table and the story continues until exactly at 21:40. They leave the bar hand in hand and start walking towards the hotel where the boy had already booked a room. Then they take the elevator and go to the third floor of the hotel. This was the last moment Grace Millen was seen. On December 5th, several policemen entered the hotel to talk back Jesse Kamsan, the same boy who was in the CCTV footage. After he reached the hotel and noticed the presence of the officers, Jesse changed his route and walked away from the hotel. Before we continue, let's take a look at this guy's biography to see who Jesse Kamsan is. Jesse Kamsan was born in 1992. His parents separated when Jesse was 9 years old. Jesse worked as a laborer since he was a teenager and then went to Australia, and 3 years later he returned to his hometown, New Zealand, and then it is not known what he did, but reports show that he was fired from his job on the exact day he met Grace Millen. Finally, on December 5th, the police chased and arrested Jesse Kamsan one step ahead of the hotel and took him to the interrogation room.
Tell us about Grace. So I was talking to Grace on Tinder. We'd matched on Friday. I saw that we'd matched the next day on Saturday.
From the investigator's point of view, this pause that the suspect creates in the middle of his speech by drinking water is a clear signal of stress. But at the same time, it is also a good opportunity to monitor his behavior better and more. For example, pay attention to the shaking of his hands and feet. On the other hand, of course, Jesse has prepared himself for everything, but he doesn't know exactly what question the interrogator is going to start with. So after a few sentences, he buys himself some time to continue his work by thinking. Finally, let's remember that the legal system usually relies on documents and evidence rather than the interpretation of the suspect's behavior.
How did the evening pan out?
Yeah, pretty good. I didn't initially know that she was real.
What do you mean?
Well, there's a lot of... So have you heard of catfish?
No.
So catfishing is where someone uses your profile, or uses your photos and pretends to be you and then meets, and you're a completely different person.
Right.
And it's happened to a few people I know in Australia. Then I can just walk away.
The purpose of the subject is probably to divert the main discussion. In fact, he wants to give some irrelevant and useless details to the detective to get past this question sooner. Also, he wants to show that he didn't want to go on the date because he wasn't sure if Grace was real. And this shows the detective that Jesse Kamsan wants to change the truth.
How did the evening sort of come to an end?
There was a hug and a kiss on the cheek, and a thanks, nice meeting you. And then I said, let me know about tomorrow. And she said, okay, and then she kept walking.
At this moment, the investigator realized that Jesse didn't take this interrogation very seriously, so he decides to make him more anxious by saying a few words and then leave him alone. Let's not forget that the subject doesn't know exactly what evidence the police have against him.
I don't know if she's been murdered or not yet. She may be alive and well. Okay. But she might also be dead. Okay? And it could be that you've done it.
Hey, I just want to ask a question. Have I been arrested for something I didn't do?
You haven't been arrested, mate.
It's like, holy shit. Okay.
The police more or less believe that Jesse was involved in Grace's disappearance because the CCTV footage showed that the girl didn't leave the hotel. But let's go to check the CCTV cameras. On the morning of December 2nd, the day after meeting Grace, Jesse enters the elevator alone, leaves the hotel and directly enters a store to buy a suitcase and then buys several different detergents. When he finished shopping, he returns to the hotel and puts the things he bought in his room and then leaves the hotel again. Now Jesse takes a taxi to a rental office to rent a car. At 4 p.m. of the same day, he goes to another date that he met on the Tinder app. Then he returns to the hotel and borrows a carpet washing machine that is usually used for deep carpet stains and goes to his room. After a few minutes, Jesse returns to the elevator with 2 suitcases, but this time he goes to the hotel parking lot to put the suitcases in the trunk of the rental car. Several other cameras from different locations show that on December 3rd, Jesse goes to a store before 7 a.m., buys a shovel, and returns to the hotel. A few minutes later, he left with a garbage bag and went to the laundry and then to the car wash. The next available pictures of Jesse are from December 5th, when Jesse appears to be emptying the contents of her purse into a trash can. After the first interrogation, the police enter the suspect's room in the hotel for further investigation, where they find new evidence such as traces of blood on the carpet. In this way, 2 days later, the second interrogation session begins. This time, Jesse has a different story to tell.
You've indicated that you're willing to speak to us about the events of last Saturday. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me what happened last Saturday.
From the beginning?
Yeah.
Now that Jesse has realized that the police have seen each and every one of Jesse's actions during these few days through CCTV cameras and they have found some evidence in the hotel, he enters the defensive phase. The point to be noted is that at the request of Jesse's lawyer, parts of his interrogation room have been removed or censored.
Started talking to me about 50 Shades of Grey, which is a fantasy movie that's out.
This movie that Jesse is talking about is the movie 50 Shades of Grey that was released in 2015. The story of this movie revolves around a strange relationship full of sex scenes with sadistic tendencies. The story begins where Anna, a literature student, meets a boy named Christian. Christian falls in love with the secrets of this shy girl, and on the other hand, Anna is equally fascinated by Chris. As their sexual adventure begins, Anna discovers her own desires and limitations, while Christian learns about secrets and the devil within himself. Now, in this interrogation, Jesse wants to pretend that the relationship he established with Grace, whatever it was and wherever it ended up, was Grace's own desire and he has no fault.
We started having sex. At first it was just normal. It was very placid. And then she asked me if we could get into bondage. And then all I remember is falling asleep in the shower.
Jesse continued to say that after taking a nap and waking up, he entered the bedroom and found Grace's body there. He said that the victim had lost a lot of blood and nothing could be done for her.
I need to stop. I need to go.
Would you like some fresh air?
Yeah, please. I was in shock. I didn't know what to do. I went downstairs and I was just, I don't know, I was all over the place. I didn't believe what had happened. I was just terrified and scared. I thought that she had gone. I thought she had left.
Pathologist, specialist doctor will perform a post-mortem. They're very skilled at establishing people's causes of death. Understand that? Did you kill Grace Millane? You're under arrest for the murder of Grace Millane on or about the 2nd of December. You understand? Yeah.
While Jesse Kempson was in custody waiting his first court hearing, investigators continued their investigation and found some important evidence. The first thing that was checked was all the calls and text messages of the accused and everything that he had searched on Google between December 1st and 8th. Research on the search history and GPS of Jesse's mobile led the police to an area where Grace Millane's body was buried in a suitcase on the side of the road. The investigation of the forensic doctor showed that 6 days have passed since the death of this girl. Also, the bruises on her shoulders and hands show that she had been violently tied. According to the pictures you have seen, you can guess how the stage of murder, burial, and erasing of the crime were. The accused killed the poor girl and waited until the morning and then went and bought a suitcase and detergent, put the body in the suitcase, cleaned the room, and went to his next appointment. But because his mind was completely occupied with his crime, he talked to that new girl about the best place to bury a dead body, and the girl got scared and chose to not continue the conversation. Then Jesse returned to the hotel and put the luggage in the car and went out of the city and buried Grace Millane there, and finally washed the car to remove the traces of the crime, while his digital footprints were left by the cameras in the whole city. In court, the defendant pleaded not guilty. His lawyer talked about 50 Shades of Grey and actually meant that Grace's death was caused by consensual sex, a violent relationship that led to suffocation, and Jesse is not at all to blame. The interesting thing is that this is not the first time that an accused uses the trick in the 50 Shades movie to defend himself. The prosecutor of this case believed that Jesse Kempson first raped Grace Millane, and after burying the body, he started searching the internet about how to destroy the remains of the body in order to hide his crime. At this moment, the court invited several girls who met Jesse on the Tinder app to the witness stand. They testified that they were raped by this man. Finally, according to the available documents, CCTV footage, and witness testimony, in November 2019, Jesse Kempson was sentenced to life imprisonment with the right to apply for parole after 17 years. Thank you for being with me until the end of this video. If you are interested in this type of videos, please subscribe to my channel. We're waiting for your likes and comments about this criminal case.
On behalf of New Zealand, I want to apologise to Grace's family. Your daughter should have been safe here, and she wasn't, and I'm sorry for that.